but dudes written's a product of my shrewd penning. Confused in it, I'm saying I've chewed mics to accrue likes, delusions exuberant might.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade, and we're going to talk today about Wuertz, who said that WWE has given into the communist agenda. Oh boy. So what is this guy talking about? For people who might have been a little behind, Wuertz is a former referee from WWE, head referee for NXT. He also did some backstage work, some talent relations between NXT and different things when Evolve existed. He was one of the liaisons there. He was openly a Trump supporter, openly anti-vaccination, anti-mask, and he had a lot of problems. He's an open Christian. He proselytizes quite a bit. And this is what cost him his job. You know, him going into these meetings, these community meetings wearing WWE branded gear. That didn't help his matters at all. And essentially, there's a large group of people out there who seem to just believe whatever the TV tells them. On both sides, by the way. It's not a Democrat and Republican thing. For instance, people think that human trafficking is somehow a conspiracy theory. It's like the government spends billions of dollars fighting human trafficking. It's not a conspiracy theory. The idea that people will wear masks and masks help them commit crimes is not a conspiracy theory. We know that people wear masks to commit crimes. I mean, if you look at stereotypical bank robbers, they're all wearing masks. Why would you think that mask culture would put people in danger? We see this stuff all the time. It is not a conspiracy theory, not in the least bit. But somebody who from CNN or MSNBC or whatever told them it was a conspiracy theory. Therefore, they believe that these things are not real. And but Wuertz was a proselytizer for the political right. And this led to a lot of political strife with him backstage in WWE. And because of this, he ended up being released along with a bunch of other people, I don't know, about a month or so ago. He has been having a problem finding a job on the independents because even the deathmatch weirdos like Axel Rotten doesn't want anything to do with Wuertz. He's been essentially a political pariah in the wrestling business. So today, probably not today. I would say June 28th. He came out with a video, Instagram post where he talked about the WWE fall into the communist agenda. So let's read that, and then I'm going to read the John Laurinaitis text message that he was sent, and I'll give my thoughts. Wuertz says, any company that is discriminating against employees that refuse to participate in an experimental medical procedure by forcing them to show proof of vaccination in order to come to work in a normal capacity is violating basic human rights. I questioned, pushed back, and then defied this tyrannical overreach of control. That didn't fit their narrative, and I was punished. Faith is taking a stand and knowing that God has you covered. I lost a 6-figure job for taking a stand on multiple fronts, and I don't regret it one bit. We all come to a point where we either follow the Lord or follow the world. That decision was easy for me. I'd rather flip burgers for the glory of God than sell my soul being part of a cabal that's pushing a deceptive lie that you must mask up or take the jab in order to participate in normal everyday life. A company I thought was patriotic has now bowed to the communist agenda. Then he got a bunch of hashtags: religious freedom, uncanceled, rise up, defy tyrants, medical freedom, be strong and courageous, and glory to God. Right. In addition to this, he posted John Laurinaitis' text message that was sent to him. And it reads, effective immediately at all upcoming TVs, if you have been fully vaccinated, you no longer are required to test or wear a mask. However, if you are fully vaccinated, make sure your medical has proof of your vaccination. If you are not fully vaccinated, the standard protocol is still in place. You will have to test, fill out paperwork, have your temperature checked, and wear a mask. Thank you, John Laurinaitis. So, there's a lot of people who are kind of on the fence about this whole splitting societies or splitting communities or splitting workplaces between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. There's a big debate here over this. Let's get it correct. Wuertz was not fired for refusing to get the vaccine, right? The COVID vaccine. Let's be specific. He was fired for being an asshole, right? He says it even here. He's admitted it. He was defying the orders. He was trying to go to work regardless of the restrictions the workplace put upon him. The only reason I can say, all right, I am not on Wuertz's side with this, is that it's medical, it's a medical thing, and it's similar to dress code, right? If the company can tell you what you can and can't wear, okay, then it's much like a uniform. You could choose not to wear the mask, you know, and that's his decision. But he was given more than one option. He was given the option to get vaccinated, then if he was vaccinated, to show proof, and then he doesn't have to wear a mask anymore. Or he can continue to go through normal pandemic protocol of getting tested, having to wear a mask, etc. He chose a third option, which is, I'm not going to do either one. And as a private business, WWE can say, look, let's not go through this, right? Let's just make this easy. If you don't want to get the vaccine, which some people are skittish about getting the vaccine, that's perfectly fine. Just wear the mask. You know, get tested, wear the mask, make everybody else feel safe. You know, it's I understand you can't do that everywhere. But this is a place where he admits that's paying him 6 figures. The least you could do is give the people peace of mind. By refusing to even do that, he was being a jerk. All right? I wear a mask when I go to a grocery store. They just ask you to. All right? I'm not going to argue the instance every single time. Eventually, this shit will fall off. Okay? Eventually, it will slough off, and none of this stuff will matter. Eventually, it's going to be what they say, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, but they can't ask you whether you've been vaccinated or not. Right? So you'll just be walking around normally. Eventually, this thing will be over. It's just going to last a little bit longer. His desire to be an activist is what cost him his job. Now, when it comes to WWE bowing to the communist mob agenda, I think what we're talking about now, here's the thing. It's ridiculous. The concept that Vince McMahon is a communist is ridiculous. All right. What we're dealing with here is, for starters, there's going to be a lot of individuals in WWE. Laurinaitis is probably being one of them, Nick Khan being others. And there's going to be other people who hide in every nook and cranny in Stanford who have their own independent agendas. I told y'all before, when I listened to the conference call, I heard somebody use the word Latinx or Latinx. And I said, when you start hearing that stuff, you know something is wrong. You know you're going somewhere bad when you hear Latinx or Latinx. You know something is up. But I'm not going to say, well, it's the communist agenda. I just say, look, progressivism is a mind virus. It just is. It won't be long before you're getting emails from WWE that's going to have somebody's name, and it's going to be like he, him, she, her, they, them, or whatever. That's just how these mind viruses work. People think that they're being nice. So they're trying to say, oh, the Latinos want to call themselves Latinxes now, so that's what we do. And then if you violate that, then you look like the asshole, Now I can appreciate not wanting to go along to get along. I fully support that. But at some point you have to say, all right, they're not forcing me to get vaccinated. I've been doing the mask and everything for a year already. What's a little bit longer? This thing eventually has to end. It's not going to be a permanent fixture of the thing. Now, if he was put in a position where he had to get vaccinated or lose his job, then I would support him. But in a situation where he had another option, which was a compromise between what the company wants and what he wants, there was an easy compromise, something he had already been doing. And he chose to go left with it. It's like, bro, you can't do that. You can't go into a workplace and do what you want. You have to follow some type of guideline. And their guideline is like, okay, this is a protocol for the masked and the unmasked. I understand it is unfair that you want to, because again, they can't fire you for not wanting to do whatever. They can just throw some extra hoops in the way. But, unfair as that is, how silly is it that you were willing to think about your family? You're really this is a married man, no doubt, with kids. You're going to say, well, it was for the glory of God. It's like, well, God didn't tell you to do that. God didn't tell you to sacrifice your entire well-being, your life and everything over masks. He didn't tell you to do that. That's not in the Bible anywhere. So that was a personal choice. That is, I trust. You can trust your immune system, and if you get sick, you'll fight it off. I mean, most people do. You know, even the people who are obsessed with masks and vaccinations and stuff like that, they trust their immune system to some degree. Like you trust your immune system with the vaccine too. You know, so ultimately, I don't support Wuertz on this one. It's not a communist mob agenda. It is, the smother culture, S-mother, a feminine culture where everybody needs to take care of everybody. But it's a workplace where a 72-year-old man is there, and you have other people who are, immunodeficient, who knows who he could come across and all that kind of stuff. Those questions are bigger issues than this guy saying, well, I don't want to do either one of these things for safety purposes. Like you could say, I don't want to do the most extreme version, which is put the vaccine into my system, but I wear the mask all day. You might have that kind of thing, but you might want to be one of those people who say, look, I'll get the vaccine because I hate the mask or whatever the case, but you had options. You chose to proselytize at work and get fired. Don't go to God with that. And that's not God's doing. That is, and I still support him on a lot of issues, but not on this. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I can only be